Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Tonight we'll be talking about ignition modules once again. I made a previous video on the 7576 280Z ignition module as well as the 7778. That's actually one video. I kind of linked them together. So I got a video going over those two. I'll put a little box up here right now in this video, so if you guys want to go check that out, click on that link, that little box, and it'll take you there. I never did get to show you the 260Z ignition module though. This is for a 74, and unfortunately the manuals for this car here, in particular the 74 260Z, it wants you to use a proprietary box to test all this. They don't give you the actual information like they give you in the 75, 76 and then the 77, 78. Why they did that, I don't know. It's really a nuisance though. But anyways, I went back to the schematics here. I followed all this out and I've made notes here, and I'm just going to show you what I found as far as the wiring and how I actually think this thing works as far as the wires and what you got associated with it. So this is actually out of my 260Z, the one I've just converted over to run the 280Z guts. This is the module of that car. And like I said, everything was gutted as far as the harness. They just went there and cut all the harness, and they just left stuff in there like this. And so I took all this out, of course, in the restoration and put in my module like this one. So this module here is there in that car, but that's just one I had extra. But anyways, let me show you what I found here as far as the pinouts go. So you got six pin connections here. Now this is for an automatic. A manual car may be a little bit different, only by the yellow wire here, and I'll be explaining that. So basically, look at this bottom row. So we'll go here from the bottom where this loop actually curves in. You've got a blue wire, a black white wire, and the yellow wire. The blue wire is actually your coil connection to your negative side of your coil, because it actually triggers a ground, is what this box does, just like these do. So it's different from what you find on the 240, where it actually doesn't have ignition module. It uses points, and it's actually triggering a positive side of the coil. These are different with these ignition modules. They work different. So it's actually making a ground connection. So you got the blue wire, which is coil. You got black white wire, which is the plus 12 volt input. You got this yellow wire, which is actually the advanced pickup. So on automatic cars only. That's only on automatic cars. So that would be a distributor like this right here that has two pickups in it. As you can see, there's actually two pickups, as I'd mentioned on the video for these. So one of these is actually a retard timing, and one of these is an electronic advance. And that's what that yellow wire is for. It's for the offset phase of that coil. So that's what the yellow wire does. We flip this connector up this way. So now there's your blue wire reference there. Now we've got a green with a white stripe and a green with a red stripe. Those go to your retard pickup coil, as well as the ground reference for your coil, is how that works. So that's what those two wires do. And of course your black wire is the ground terminal. That's how that works. So that's what you've got as far as this connector. Then you've got this little wire right here. And based on what I can figure out in the schematic, that this is for an advanced timing circuit. Now, what throws me off, I'm not real sure about this because this is where I can't really figure this out, is that the manual cars have this exact same wire. So evidently, if you don't have the advanced coil, the pickup, then I don't know really what the use of this is. So that's kind of throwing me off. So I don't know that exactly. But basically, I'll kind of show you in the schematics what I found here. So we'll kind of go through the schematics together and I'll show you. So the manual, like I say, is not very clear on this particular car. It's not as clear as it is on the 280s, the 280 models. But what we got the transistor ignition unit right here. That's all they gave you right here. Now this is also weird because they say a black-yellow wire, and you can clearly see that this is just a white wire. There is no yellow to it, so it's just a white wire. So that throws you off there. But if we follow that out, it actually goes down here to your EGR relay. And so I've already kind of followed this out, and it goes to the thermo time switch. So I think it's this one here, water temp switch. Yeah, right here. It goes to this, it goes back over here to this. So when the engine's cold, this relay is actually energized. So this is closed right here, but then when it actually warms up, this relay turns off, makes this connection here, which is associated with that black yellow wire, connect to 12 volts. So that's a 12 volt reference back when this thing is warmed up. So I don't know if it has some kind of delay inside the box itself for maybe a timing change or whatever when it's cold. I'm not sure about that, so that's just kind of interesting. But I just want to show you that real quick. But here's your reluctor pickup right here. Green, white, yellow, green, red. So there's your wires there. Now what's interesting is that if we look at the manual card, right now we're in the automatic. So we'll go to the manual schematic for the manual cars. And like I say, this is what throws me off, because we still got that black yellow wire, but you can see we no longer have that yellow wire in our ignition module for the advanced pickup coil. So just kind of interesting there. Let me see if I can find the coil real quick. Yeah, here's your coil. So there's the blue wire right there. It comes off the negative side of your coil. So that's actually what makes the ground. And of course we follow that back all the way up here. And there's that blue wire going into this ignition module. But I just want to show you that real quick. That was something that I've been kind of wanting to show you guys. I really want to show you this thing working. But like I say, unfortunately this module's no good. So it's not good at all. But now there's something you can do. If you have a 260Z and you want to get rid of this module, you can actually still find the 7576 modules pretty easily. And these will work in that place. They have the same footprint, so they'll bolt right up to the firewall. And all you'd have to do is cut that connector off and change out your pins. And just basically wire them in with basically just round terminals like that right there. So it'll be an option for you if you can't find this module. These, like I said, a 260Z here in America is kind of rare, so some of these parts are, hard to find. But that would be an option for you if you wanted to upgrade that. I'm not real sure about the ohm rating of the 260Z distributor pickup coils. I don't know if they're the same as a 280. This is a 280Z here, and I think they're around 75 ohms. I believe that's what the ohm rating is in those. So it may work just fine with a 260Z distributor. If not, you can always find a 280Z distributor and change it over to work that way as well. But I just want to bring that up. That's something that's kind of left blank here in this manual. It's hard to kind of explain all that, because like I said, if you go to the ignition module section of this manual, it wants you to actually just take a box. In fact, we'll see if we can find it real quick while I'm here on camera. I don't know where it's at exactly. Once that's pretty close here to the front. That's transmission. Yeah, here it is, right here. So this is actually your electrical system here for your box. But basically, use this little box here. Ignition switch on. Can you check? Yeah, transistor ignition unit check right here. Manual transmission. So I want you to use this little box right here to test all that out. And very limits what you can do as far as a technician that doesn't have that little box like I do. I don't have that box. So figuring out this wiring and being able to see what's going on here, hopefully that'll help some of you guys out test this module. But like I say, just do an ohm test between your 12 volts to ground, because that may be a common problem with this box. This one's dead shorted, so something's wrong, clearly. But just want to make a note of that. So something else I will show you too real quick. I've actually collected these manuals when I can find them. But we have a technical service bulletin here of 1976, and it mentions the 74260Z. The actual bulletin number is TS76-080, and it's about the 74260Z transistorized ignition system. And basically, I won't read all this, but what happened was in March of '74, they made a change to this box. Evidently, they had a lot of problems before March with connector issues. And if we go right here, I'll just read this note. Beginning with March '74 production, the female side of the connector was changed from a brass connector point to a phosphorized bronze to improve connector engagement. The male side remains brass. And of course they give you a parts number provided below. The part numbers provided below are the new type. So they don't really give you a part number there. It's probably over here. There it is. So that would be your part number. But basically there's your connector there, which is that's the new connector. So this one already has a new connector. Of course my car was made in May, so it would already have that connector. So that's the new style connector that we've actually got here. But if you've got a car made before March, you may have issues with this connector. That might be some of your issues with your ignition system. So just want to make a note of that real quick. I'll go ahead and zoom in on this so you guys can actually pause this video if you need to. But this is actually shows you basically the VIN numbers of the cars affected, and then also when they started making the change to the newer style connectors. So hopefully that'll help you guys out there if you want to pause the video and read that. But anyways, I just want to bring that up because that was something I was reading through this manual here, and it came to my attention that they did have an issue with some of the earlier ignition modules. But anyways, I hope this video helps you out a little bit. Sorry I can't really power it up and test it with you guys like I've done the other modules. I just can't power this one up. It's got a problem. But anyways, y'all take care, and thanks for watching.